and so on. This is really the thing for the CCC people. And the output is simply stored on the clear text, and decryption is the reverse. Thank you. This is RC4 in DC with comments. Okay, this generates a key stream from a SBox array, which is stored in the big ass stack. Okay, we have to go faster. Jump. Okay. PSP is pretty slow. Privacy, it's a bunch of forced shell scripts, about 400 lines of code, connected as it's slow as moldy molasses. The RC4 shell script encrypts on my very fast laptop about 360 bytes per second. Combined with RSA, a 8 kilobyte text takes about, well, 170 bytes per second. Key creation has still to be done on another machine with OpenSSL, and it uses Corn Shell, so it's real Corn Shell thingy. It works on OpenBSD. There's lots of problems with GNU tools like GNU-DC and GNU-SED, which are not really POSIX compliant, which turns only up if you do that. Okay, thank you. You can download the stuff at. Cool.
All right. If you ever mistyped CD as DC, now you know what you can do with it, actually. So, nice. Shoestringfoundation.org, that was. Okay, keep it in mind. Somebody post this on the IRC channel. I don't have time for typing this. Anyway, next on our list is something that is so badly printed out I can't read anymore, but it's from Oliver Moldenhauer. Are you here? Yes. Well, then you please come in front. And
okay. My talk is going to be slightly less technical, slightly more political. It's about the next year's G8 summit. You probably know there's every year a summit where the 7 biggest industrial nations plus Russia meet and try to rule the world. Next slide, please. So I'm from the Netzwerk Freies Wissen organization we just founded. Next one. I try to have more than 3 slides per minute. So what is the Netzwerk Freies Wissen? New organization, obviously. We deal with access to knowledge and the protection of the knowledge commons against too much intellectual property. We do it rather by political work than by actually putting free knowledge online. What is important, for instance, we did work on software patents, we did work on biopatents, we're doing something on copyright. And what is important for us is to join the different IP issues, whether they are seeds or drugs or digital media. Because usually those communities, political communities, are quite disjunct. We have offices in Berlin and Bielefeld, a rather small one, Bielefeld, but there's one in Bielefeld. And we welcome support and collaboration. You can all see on www.wissensalmende.de. But coming to the G8 summit, so the federal government, this government thing is better done in German, so I put the German stuff on here. So this is what the federal government says to their G8 strategy in some press thingy. They say innovation and especially the aspect of the protection of intellectual property about product and market piracy. But also they talk about HIV/AIDS and universal access of everybody who needs it to antiretroviral drugs, which is a kind of contradiction. Next one. Sorry for the bad quality. For some reason or another, the decision of the German government on the agenda of the G8 summit is secret. So we had to get some really bad facts and scan it in and stuff. And it says here, innovation is the central foundation for the wealth in knowledge-based societies. Blah, blah, blah. We see especially a need to do something by the improvement of the international cooperation to the enforcement of rights of intellectual property. So that's the only idea in the whole paper on how to further innovation is IP enforcement. And next slide, please. So what they also do, German government who hosts this meeting, is inviting what they call the Outreach 5 countries, Mexico, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, and talk to them about, join them in the G8 process. But the only thing they mention, what they actually want to do with them, is talk about IP enforcement. At the same time, they are asking for universal access for anti-HIV drugs. If you know how bad the international agreements on intellectual property are for access to drugs, you can imagine there's kind of a contradiction there. Next one. So, since from the officials, from the several governments, there will only be one side of the issue presented, the only way, let's have more IP, stronger IP, and let's enforce it, there's going to be the necessity to bring out the other story. So there's some events planned, which I will invite you to participate. One we had on November 30th, we had a one-day event here in Berlin, where we had people there from the sea, people who were dealing with seeds, people who were dealing with medicine, and people dealing with copyright to discuss those issues. We'll have another longer meeting, a weekend meeting at the Protestant Academy in Felix, somewhere in North Rhine-Westphalia, with two goals. One is we want to discuss theories and actions between the different movements working with intellectual property, and we want to have a joint declaration on reclaiming knowledge with all those groups. So we have a statement we can give out at the G8 summit to have a different view. And then on this declaration will be prepared in the next month. So there will be in January a first draft, and then everybody can take part in discussion on that. In June, there'll be big, 1 minute, isn't it? Yeah. Big demonstrations in Heiligendamm, which is near Rostock, in case you don't know, and a counter summit where we are going to present the other ideas. Next slide. So that's these are the groups who are already taking part in this process, who've been part in the meeting in end November. So, for instance, you have the Aktionsbündnis gegen AIDS, you have Greenpeace, you have the Protestant Development Service, you have Médecins Sans Frontières, you have CP-Tech, you have Meserio, Buko campaign against biopiracy, and so on and so forth. Next slide. So, I'd like to invite the Chaos Computer Club and the FFII for that purpose to join this process. So we have a big declaration, not actually a long one, but one followed by many groups and people, and where we can have a different voice in the whole debate around Heiligendamm. Thank you, and more information you'll find on wissensalmende.de.
Hi, our next presenter is Tim Kousten from LiveStick.
From the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands?
Yeah. Okay. I would like to give a presentation about LiveStick. LiveStick is a free online storage for the masses. Next slide, please. Sorry?
Never mind. Never mind.
It has three key features. The first is accessibility. Accessibility is because people store their files at their personal computer, but you get more and more devices like PDAs, laptops, cell phones, stuff like that, and you want to access your data anytime from anywhere. Also, a trend is that people tend to get more and more data. It's not getting less, but only more documents for school, for work, pictures, anything you want to save. It's only growing, but people don't really make backups. It's most of the time not well structured, not well tested, and yeah, the risk is getting bigger every time. So you could just save it on your LiveStick account, and everything is taken care of. The third point that really sets it apart from an easy-to-use FTP server is the sharing files capability. So you just upload, you don't have to share your account, you just say this file I want to share it with that and that and that guy. Next slide, please. There's a lot of skepticism about storing files online. A lot of people think, hey, that's a really bad idea, put my personal stuff on the internet. There's something to say about that. The first reason I don't think that this is a problem is because most documents that get stored on this service are not highly classified NSA, FBI docs that are really of interest for anyone. The other thing is there is no wheres. If you lose your wheres, it's not such a big deal. You just join the some network and you download it again and you got it. But it's different with the pictures you took from the last summer, for instance. You don't want to lose them. It's hard to find that on an illegal network normally. So just save your personal stuff. The data that is saved on this service is very important to the people themselves, but not really interesting for other people. The current status of the project. I've been working on it for the last 1.5 years. I went online 2 weeks ago. What I have is these 3 aspects I talked about. So this accessibility via web interface, the sharing capability, and of course the saving. And it's a very clean and nice to use interface. Now how does that look like? Like this. This is the welcome screen. It's on the front page is just a login, a registration form, and once you're registered you can directly log in. Once you're logged in, you get into the overview of your personal files. It's really simple. You have an upload form at the bottom of the page. It didn't fit on the screenshot. But here you can see an overview of your files, and you can say share this file, and you get a pop-up and choose from anyone an email address you want to share it with. And there's also a sharing file capability. That's the next one. Here you see all the files coming in from other users and the files you shared yourself with other users. And this is basically the essential functionality that I'm going to build on through. Next. So what are the future plans? I want to further improve the user interface, make it easier to use, do stuff with less steps, and just don't be bothered with unneeded stuff. I'm about to release an API, so developers can develop their own applications that connect with LiveStick and their accounts. Currently it's only Dutch. There is an English version on its way, I want to localize it to as much languages as possible, of course, but the English version is about to be released soon, in a couple of months. And I want to further integrate it with other web services. Think about Google Office, Flickr, all these kind of web services that could really need an online storage backend underneath them. Okay. What I need hardware, I need hard disks, servers, bandwidth, stuff like that, as much as possible. I need sponsors for that, or investors, people that are seriously interested in into this project. And it would be nice to get some extra development power to make all these ideas, because I got so much ideas, just not the time to make it all happen. So I really need developers in this fast CGI, C programmers, Ruby programmers, Rails programmers, stuff like that. Okay. So how can you contact me? I'm on MSN, kuijsten@hotmail.com, Jabber, kuijsten@jabber.accessforall.nl, and email kuijsten@yahoo.com. Thank you very much.
So, another nice interface for storing files. I wonder how you access archives and deal with them. What's wrong with SSH?
It's hard for most people it's hard.
You would have to use the micros, otherwise nobody can hear you on the other side.
Working? Hello. Well, the problem is with SSH that it's for most people too hard to use. The crowd here is...
Why not teach them?
Yeah, you're going to teach the whole world.
I would rather teach them than telling them please use a web browser and
Maybe you
click
guys
a
should
lot
take
of
this
things.
outside.
But
There-
yeah, we should take this outside. Come on, we get outside.
Please welcome Benjamin Harry Rion.